Good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of Plymouth Town Crier. I'm your host, Alan Costello, and we're here today to do a series of candidate spotlights for the upcoming town spring election. Today we're covering the race for the Charter Commission. There'll be 9 charter commissioners that you'll have an opportunity to vote for, and one of us is joining us today, Mr. Peter Svahn. He's a candidate for Charter Commission. In the format we have today is Mr. Svahn will speak about his candidacy and tell you a little bit about himself. At this time, I'll let him speak. Mr. Svahn, go right ahead.
Thank you, Alan. It's a pleasure to be here and have this opportunity to talk to the people of Plymouth. First, before I get into the charter issues itself, let me tell you a little bit about my background and why I'm here. I have been a town meeting member in Plymouth for some 6 years and lived here about 7 years. And I've come to respect and enjoy life in Plymouth a great deal and appreciate the variety of people, the restaurants, and cultural facilities we have and that are available to all of us. It's really a great town. But my background consists of the several different themes that sort of inform my decision to run for Charter Commission. I have been a town meeting member in Winchester, was there for 12 years, and a finance committee member there during that period of time. I have been a lender to governments all over the country and to a lot of Massachusetts municipalities. I brought back in the late 70s this form of lease purchase financing to Massachusetts. Actually, I ended up financing a lot of fire trucks and DPW equipment and things for a variety of towns, and have done similar things with computers across the country. So I have observed a lot. I've participated in a lot of debate. I am used to a town meeting that has extensive debate on the floor of town meeting on issues. And I've always been frustrated during my time in Plymouth that that similar type of debate does not take place. I know a lot of people feel that our avenues we have to get to town meeting through the budget director, to the board of selectmen, to the committee on precinct chairs, to the finance committee, but basically all they do is talk and present information. And if precinct 12, I live in precinct 15, precinct 12, someone has an interesting idea, wants to propose a thought, I don't hear it. Because unless I went to every one of the precinct caucuses, those kinds of debate and discussion belong on floor of town meeting. And I think our town meeting is fairly ineffective. We are now a mid-sized city. We've got a population, talked to Pearl Sears Monday, 64,532 people. Yet we still use the same several hundred-year-old model of town meeting. In its day, it was very appropriate. Many will tell you, including existing candidates for the commission, that it gives the opportunity for effective debate and participation. But the fact of life is no one participates. The very few who do basically dominate the discussion at town meeting or dominate the issues. In our April town meeting, every article passed either unanimously or with just a very small handful of negative votes. There were no amendments issued from the floor. The one article that was defeated, wouldn't you know, was to fund the Charter Commission, to provide support for it. Well, what most people don't realize is the state mandates that the commission be supported anyway. It probably comes out of a different funding bucket, but nonetheless. So anyway, over the last 10 years, I have done a lot of study of the financial history of Plymouth. I have a background in bond financing. I've done revenue bonds for some nonprofit schools and for nonprofit colleges and things. So I'm used to reading financial documents and understanding how to parse that information. So I've put together and looked at data for Plymouth. We have, over the last 10 years, our population has increased 16%. Our budget has increased 49%, 4 times as much, actually 3 times as much. The tax levy amount, which is what affects your property taxes, has increased 61%. Same time, our school enrollment has dropped 11%. Commercial industrial property values, which form the part of the basis of the property on which we raise taxes, has actually decreased 8% over the last 10 years. So it's no wonder our residential property taxes rise and will continue to do so unless changes are made. Plymouth has been fortunate to have two engines that have driven a lot of the availability of revenues: the nuclear plant, whose revenues are now rapidly declining, and the Pine Hills development, which, as of last count, contributes over $24 million of net revenues to the town of Plymouth, which, and actually Pine Hills uses very small amount of Plymouth's services. So something has to change. We're approaching a fiscal cliff. Is this growth? I mean, Pine Hills revenue will still be there, but it's not going to grow much beyond the next 2-3 years. So what is it? Why am I against the town meeting? I sort of alluded to some of this, but town meeting meets twice a year. Again, we are the 15th or 16th biggest municipality in Massachusetts. There are some 35 entities smaller than Plymouth that have chosen to use a city form of government. So we can look to them for some of their experiences. Town meeting meets twice a year. It doesn't set its own agenda. The Board of Selectmen essentially does that. Individual citizens can petition for articles, but that's quite rare, frankly. So town meeting also is dominated by what I refer to as special interest groups, old-timers, people who've been active, who know how to use the system to maximize advantage for them. It's very not useful for the individual citizens to really understand what is taking place. So what happens in a city form of government? There are several things that change. You have a council which meets, and by the way, you could still use the name Town of Plymouth even with a city form of government. But a city council meets frequently, at least twice a month, if not more frequently. So issues that come up that need to be addressed can be addressed promptly and effectively. A city council sets its own agenda. It's not set for them by a board of selectmen or the executive function of government. And so all of the issues that we deal with in terms of development, I mean, I think we've all heard stories of individual people who want to bring in good light industry or commercial buildings, who, when they understand the time frame it takes to get through Plymouth, move to go to other towns. So we've heard that. The Massachusetts Department of Revenue, which oversees fiscal affairs for all municipalities, they're the ones who calculate free cash. They review the books. They calculate state aid and things. They recommend and make very clear that when a town reaches 30-some thousand population, they should consider changing to a more efficient form of government. We're at 64,000. Again, they view, and they will say in their documentation, that a city council is more vertical, provides more accountability, provides more efficiency, and also responsive. So we are way beyond their recommended size to change. Another matter is, per state law, town meeting members are exempt from conflict of interest provisions. And we have heard that several times from different groups on the floor of town meeting, that they can vote any way they want, whether they have a financial interest or not. City council, on the other hand, is not exempt. Members are definitely under the state conflict of interest statutes as a requirement. So also commission candidates, that other folks running for the commission, and I hope you read their statements, and if they're up here on this program, you listen closely to them. They say, well, town meeting is the purest form of democracy. It gives the greatest opportunity to participate. The reality is people just do not participate. It's a nice thought, but this year on May ballot, 7 out of our 15 precincts do not even have 3 candidates to run for town meeting. So, there will be a handful of perhaps write-in candidates, but this allows the old-timers and to step up and to have their way, if you will. Many of the candidates, again, listen to them. They've said they've been in town government for 20, 30 years. They've been on charter committees that have been appointed by the town meeting moderator. So they just say, well, we need to tweak the system. So I say, you've had your chance. We need some new thinking. We need some people who have looked at other forms of government, who have seen what flexibility can provide. So that's, they've had their chance. They're good people. I respect them. I have nothing against them personally. But nonetheless, they are stuck in their ways. Another issue is, again, people talk about greater turnout at our elections. Our town moderator, we've had woefully poor turnout. One of the factors is our elections, as a town structure, are in May. It's a special meeting just for the town. Once you become a city, your elections are held in November, the same time as state and federal elections. This will almost guarantee that we double or triple our turnout so that more voters get to vote on municipal issues. So over 7,000 people have signed a petition to get this question on the ballot. And by the way, it will be, when you get your ballots to vote, it will be on the back of the ballot. Please turn them over. You get to vote for whether you want yea or nay out of the commission, and then you get to select 9 candidates. You get to vote from among, I think it's 20 people. I am one of those people. I ask you for your vote. I ask you to consider looking at the candidates, reading. There will be forthcoming a column in the Old Colony Memorial where every one of us gets to put 400-word statement in the paper. So read what people say. Read between the lines. Those who want to say, well, we just need to keep it and tweak it, well, I submit they've had fair chance to do that, and we've arrived at the state we are at now. So, again, I believe in charter change. I believe we need to listen to other communities that have been through this. We've had recent experiences in Braintree, Weymouth, Framingham, and several others that have gone through this process over the last 10 years. We should study them, see what benefits they've achieved, what the process was like. We should then reach out and present us choices to people to get feedback from the population of citizens of Plymouth, and then we should go from there. So I respectfully ask for your vote on May 15th. My name is Peter Svahn, S-V-A-H-N. I'll be on the ballot. They're in alphabetical order. If you have questions, would like to contact me, you can text me at 614-579-5504 or email me at cps@cpses.com. I ask for your vote, and I ask you to vote yes for a charter commission. Thank you.
Very good, Peter. Thank you very much. And I think putting in the information to reach you was critical. You covered a lot of very, very important points. And if anyone had any questions, feel free to reach out to Peter. I'm sure he'll fill you in on any of the things he covered here this afternoon. I'd like to thank Peter for coming in today.
My pleasure.
And let the people know that as you watch Plymouth Town Crier, we'll continue these candidate spotlights for your benefit, to help inform you, give you the information you need to make some informed decisions on May 15th. That's the date of the election. I'd like to thank you at this time for tuning in. I'd like to ask you at your convenience to subscribe, to like, and we'll see you here in the next several days as we go through the list of candidates and have every opportunity to show you everyone that's on the ballot. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time today.